Colleagues, it's that time of the year. Welcome to our 7th annual convention. Welcome to Nakuru County, the home of Lake Nakuru National Park, Menengai Crater, and for the bird lovers, this is the host of thousands of flamingos. And guess what? We have a lot lined up for you. The game drive, sundowner, dinner at the park, tree planting. Oh, tell me you're ready. Karibu sana. We are excited to see you all. I know most of you have not seen each other since the last convention. Karibuni sana. Let's network, let's unwind, let's engage and learn from each other. Karibu sana to our convention.
Media disruption is a situation where media has realized that they are not the only people in town.
The biggest disruption right now is technology. So if you are not aligned with technology, then you are in for a greater shock.
That is the natural order of things. You might call it evolution.
It's now a common phrase, as you said, in media forums. You either adapt or die.
Kenya's media is one of the most diverse in Africa and continues to undergo significant transformation. Since the liberalization of the country's politics and economy in the early 1990s, the media has played a crucial role in improving governance and shaping public opinion. However, the media, which is predominantly privately owned, is facing serious disruptions which threaten its long-term sustainability. Challenges include a tightening political environment, deepening economic hardships, and fast-changing technological advancements. The Kenya Editors Guild has been calling for timely support for the media to enable it cope with these challenges.
We'll keep pushing for press freedom. You know, that's one of our key mandates as Kenya Editors Guild. And we call for the support from all our stakeholders to ensure that we, in this democratic country, you know, and space, that we are able to enjoy the rights guaranteed to us under the Constitution.
For 2 months, beginning June 2024, the government faced unprecedented youth-led demonstrations.
We had witnessed several cases of journalists being arrested. Those, many of them were injured as well during the Gen Z-led protests.
I was in the broadcast gallery when we had to stop to take another camera angle because there were live bullets and people are falling down. Protesters are falling down on camera. And you know that will be against our own regulations to show such a gory scene. Physical threats to journalists. We've seen them being beaten during the Gen Z protests to the extent that a journalist, a female journalist, was actually shot point blank on her legs by policemen who could clearly see that she's a journalist.
I had suffered a cut on my arm from the handcuffs. I had been slapped around, I had been punched around the ribs. I had a few bruises.
Veteran newspaper journalist and Kenya Editors Guild member Macharia Gaitho endured a harrowing abduction ordeal that unfolded in broad daylight.
Some two fellows came out from a car which was behind us, came and yanked open my door and tried to pull me out. And that is when I realized they had handcuffs, they were trying to handcuff me. That is when I realized they were policemen and they were trying to take me wherever they want to take me. They said it was mistaken identity, but I have never bought that. It could not be mistaken identity, because I think anybody who is anybody in security circles in Kenya knows me. They have my number, and that is what they were using to track me.
Media associations condemned these attacks and rallied their voices, calling on the government to respect and uphold press freedom. The Kenya Media Sector Working Group decried police brutality and called for the enhanced safety, security and respect of journalists.
Kila mwanahabari ana haki ya kuangazia habari na kufahamisha mwananchi kile ambacho kinaendelea bila ubaguzi wowote.
Why are you blocking media from accessing the press gallery? Yes. That is unacceptable.
We were very loud and very clear on attacks on journalists. We did issue strong statements condemning attacks on journalists. Immediately we did the protest. We were able to do a meeting with the security officers, that is police, the senior police officers, just to find a way how well can journalists work in an environment that they are feeling safe during such events.
That was aimed directly at me.
Following the responsibility journalists have and the risks associated with the job, the welfare of journalists should be paramount and taken care of by media houses and government.
Welfare of journalists actually is at the core of our mandate, and we've been trying to engage media houses to see how they can address the pay problems in the media.
Government advertising spend should not be used for blackmail or to apply pressure on the media. Those are public funds, and like all other public funds, must be used in the most prudent, most cost-effective ways.
In pursuit of a solution, Kenya Editors Guild has reached out to Parliament to legislate the formation of a sustainability fund to support and strengthen the media.
So the Kenya Media Sector Working Group has been looking at a strategy to bring on board the Kenya Journalism Fund or the Journalism Trust Fund. So that fund is supposed to cushion media during times of difficulties, during times of disruption. So how we envision it is that this will be a pot where foundations, where people who support independent journalism can put in their money, and then the money can be used to help media that is struggling. The money can also be used to help journalists, independent journalists, freelancers, to continue to carry out the journalism that they are doing.
The main reason why the media is facing challenges in revenue generation is because of technological disruption. The media landscape has expanded, and the emergence of digital media is eating into the revenue streams of traditional media.
We removed the barriers of access, so that we allowed many people to get into the media space as producers, as critical actors. We have not found a way around increasing the funding to the media work, because good journalism costs money and someone must be able to pay for it.
The traditional form of advertising is ceding ground to very new ways of advertising. The digital space is coming big as a disruptor, but I don't like looking at it that way. I look at it more like as an enabler, because the digital space has also allowed traditional media to expand its space. So I see digital as an opportunity, much as it has actually disrupted, especially when it comes to revenue.
One of the things that we aim to do and continue to do is building media resilience in the era of digital disruptions and media disruptions. And also we aim to continue building capacity for journalists and skilling our journalists, on how to navigate the challenges that we face as media in Kenya.
Technological advancement has been and remains the major catalyst in media transformation.
Technological advancement has really increased access to media. It has allowed media houses and content producers and journalists to be able to distribute their content through various channels and reach to many people. The consumers on the other end, who haven't been entirely educated about which content is which, they are consuming both, and sometimes they consume more from the unethical content producers or from the unlicensed untrained content producers than the trained and the verified media houses. So on one side we have the opportunities of it's cheaper, it's faster, better quality, wider reach, and then now we have the competition from fakes and then too many people crowding off the market, and I think sometimes even confusing the consumer because you have too much information. That ability to filter quality and all that is also a challenge on the consumer side.
Despite challenging traditional media in news gathering, digital media has also created opportunities for provision of tailor-made content with multiple distribution channels.
We disrupted the media industry. No one had heard of digital, like a purely digital platform entity that doesn't have anything traditional. So for Kenyans, if you've not seen anything on TV, if you've not read it on newspaper, if you've not had it on radio, then it's not true. It's enabled us to stay on top because we've tapped into all these innovative strategies, how we gather our news, how we consume. We have very few, what I'll put it as boots out there, who are going to look for news and source. We're doing it digitally. We've reduced the amount of money that we use as a newsroom. So the newsroom is very efficient. We have a huge team that works from home and it's managed remotely. So we don't spend a lot of money on, let's say, human resource or the kind of technology that we use. So that has enabled us to reduce the cost.
As media undergoes a digital revolution, professional journalists have a responsibility to champion the truth and navigate the digital landscape responsibly to maintain the trust of their audience.
It cuts across. If you're a journalist, you have to follow ethics. So it's not about whether you're in a traditional media or whether in a digital media house. You have to follow journalistic rules, how you source for information, how you package this information, what information exactly is it you're sharing out there.
The ethical principles of journalism and media work are the same. It's just that getting the people to follow the same ethics across all platforms so that you do not have a journalist being ethical on a television and unethical on a YouTube channel and all that.
Traditional media must strongly embrace innovation to maintain competitiveness in news gathering and dissemination, capture younger audiences, and equip journalists with the necessary skills to boost its reporting on emerging realities like climate change.
If a journalist wants to report about how carbon dioxide is being emitted into the atmosphere and ends up doing a search through an AI platform, now it's upon the journalist to be able to do a search beyond the AI to be able to verify the information and get data that is specific for the area geographically that the journalist wants.
Climate change affects diverse sectors of the economy, and journalists need a deeper understanding of the subject to be able to offer in-depth reporting.
We need the journalists, the editors, and the entire media fraternity to be aware of the key issues that lead to climate change, and then when they are reporting, what are the standard procedures which are supposed to be used when, for example, the climate change issues are being handled by the different countries and different sectors to be able to reduce the impact on the population. So, in essence, it is technical, it needs knowledge, and therefore we are trying to build the capacity of the editors and the reporters to be able to handle it in a way that the scientists and scientific community of climate change ends up also understanding it.
The Kenya Editors Guild has come up with a climate change manual, an idea conceived during the Africa Climate Week in Nairobi in 2023 to look into the science of climate change. This was done to help journalists better understand the science of climate change and improve their dissemination of information on the same to the masses through their everyday reporting.
The manual looks at the science of climate change because it's important for journalists to understand the science of climate change in order to report it better to the masses. Basically, all sectors affected by climate change are covered, and also the science behind key processes. So that was one of the achievements that Kenya Editors Guild did for this year. And we hope that going forward, the manual can be even more simplified into some sort of a handbook. The end goal for this is to have it incorporated within the development programs in the journalism schools.
Climate change is one of the key topics lined up at this year's convention as editors and media professionals aim for more constructive, solution-oriented reporting on climate change.
Why are we doing this? Is because as journalists we would like to help our editors and also reporters and practitioners in the industry to be able to tell climate change in a way that is relatable to the audience that is listening to us. We will also have an opportunity to listen to the minister from Information and Communication Ministry as a host ministry for media or for the state. We'd like to hear about some of the concerns that we have raised, the current media laws or proposals that are there that may look at eating away some of the freedoms that we have as the industry.
It's a cocktail of different things that we'll be doing, but mostly just unwinding and networking and engaging each other. Sometimes we're so busy, it's a long year, we've faced many challenges, so this is the opportunity that we get to just sit back and relax and enjoy. Well, it's not all doom and gloom. We are not going to relent. Together, we shall conquer. I now declare our convention officially open.